Hi there, and welcome to Smartphone Filmmaking Masterclass episode 3. Now, this episode is all focused on softwares. Now, so far I've taught you about composition and lighting, and I've taught you about audio. Now we're moving away from the two fundamentals which ultimately influence your image, and now we're going to focus on the types of softwares you can use that will ultimately give you a lot more professional control over your films that are made on your smartphones. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about is iPhones, because this is all being shot on an iPhone, so to keep it simple, I'm going to dedicate this episode to iPhones. Filmic Pro, which is the one I have been using now and have used on a few other projects, is £6 in the App Store, which isn't a huge amount if you've already got a phone. So why would you want to use this software over using just the stock software that is available on the phone? What Filmic Pro does, which is very, very nice, is it gives you a certain amount of control over your image, which is very important if you want to start coming up with creative styles and in general having your footage look a bit more professional, is to not have things automated. And that's what the main app does. It automates the focus and it automates the exposure, and you have very little control over that other than where you point the camera. So what Filmic Pro does is it gives you an exposure lock and a focus lock. Now, these are both very, very useful tools, as I will demonstrate here. So you start off with the little app called Filmic Pro. Click on that. Now it's brought up, this is the window that you will see during Filmic Pro. So as you'll notice, there are a few extra icons as opposed to the usual icons you see in your camera app. Now this one here is your focus, and you can drag that around and pick a point to focus on. And once you've picked a point to focus on, you hit that and it locks. And now wherever in the screen that red box is will be what's in focus. So say I come around here and I get right up close, this will be in focus. However, if I unlock it and move it over to here, the focus is now in the background here. So it's a nice tool. If you want things just on auto, leave them in the middle, and then whatever you point them at will be in focus. Now this is the shape of an aperture, but it is essentially your exposure. So as you can see, I've got quite a dark spot here, which is the wall, but then we've got a really bright point, which is where the sun's coming through. So if I drag this over to that, it tries to expose to that bright spot. And as you can see, it struggles a little bit because it's really, really bright. And it's a very high contrast image. But if I move this back away from that light area, it exposes to the wall again. And obviously as well, if I set my exposure and lock it, now when I move over here, it doesn't change. But if I unlock it and move over there, the exposure changes. So what makes this great is it takes away a bit of the automation, which makes your films look amateur, and having that level of control, at least over the exposure and the focus, really allows you to start having more creative control. And when you know how to use those tools well, there is a lot of motive that you can put behind that, so you can create tension between characters using the things that I've already discussed, like composition and lighting. But you can also, now in control of your focus and your exposure, control other elements, like whether you want your shot to be underexposed or you want your shot to be overexposed. Generally, underexposing things makes things look darker and gloomier and can often mimic nighttime. Overexposure tends to make things look quite dreamlike and very sunny and very warm and quite nice in general. So as always, I'm Jack from Rife magazine, signing off. If you have any feedback you would like to give or any questions, you can get to us at Rife Magazine on Twitter and Instagram, or at Facebook, which you'll find all in the links below. This is Jack, signing off.